of contract. It happens, and more is happening. And we'll talk about the actual numbers when we get to the numbers today, with the expireds and all that stuff. So how to handle your home from falling, or when your home falls out of contract. There's nothing you can do about it, right? Sometimes, look, there's a lot of times your house just isn't going to get an offer because you priced it too high, the market has slipped, or you haven't done your homework. Now you, the seller, not the agent, because the agent is always going to tell you, list it low and see what we can do to get more offers in. And then we can push it up and see where it actually lands. If you price it at or above, you're going to piss off a lot of buyers for wasting their time. If you price it right, sometimes your house will sell correctly. Now, you can sell a house without an inspection, but the buyer has the right and duty to understand what they're buying. That means they're going to have their inspectors come through. And typically it's a property, a roof, pest, and if you have a pool or you need a foundation or whatever, you want to disclose all that before you do it. But if you don't, they can come back and bite your arm off 1 inch at a time and say, I want this, I want this, I want this. And you, as a seller, have absolute authority to say, yes, I'll take care of it all, or no, I'm not going to take care of any of it, or I'll give you half. We'll do half of it. And then it's the buyer's decision if they're going to accept that or not. If they don't, or you don't, then it falls through and it goes out of contract. And it's not the fault of the buyer, it's the fault of you not negotiating. Your home appraises for less than the sales. We have a contingency for that. And when the market's crazy hot, those contingencies get waived. It means if you want to spend $200,000, $400,000 more than what you think the house is valued at just to get that house, and if it doesn't appraise, the seller can say, you know what, I'm not going to take anything less than that. If you're the buyer and you don't have the money to actually do it, first of all, shame on you for putting that kind of money up or that kind of an offer up without being able to back it up. Shame on your agent for pushing you into that situation. But sometimes appraisals just don't come through. And that's just a part of life. Sometimes you can meet halfway. Sometimes you can say yes or no. But if the buyer can't or decides not to do it, and that contingency is in place, they can pull right out. That screws you over. There's an open lien on your property that's uncovered by a title search. I sold a house once where there was a red tag on a permit that wasn't found until the day we got into contract. It was not on the title search. And we decided to handle it. And we told the buyers, look, we just found this. We're going to handle it. We're adults. You need to be a little bit patient with this. So there's an open lien on your title search, or your buyer's financing falls through. That's another contingency, right? There's property condition, there's loan, there's appraisal, and the need to sell if that actually happens. Happened to me last year. They couldn't sell their house, so we had to let them go, and they weren't willing to take the risk. They had that contingency in place, and that's just the way it is. It happens. Your buyer's financing falls through. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. You get fully approved through an underwriter, and then, all of a sudden it didn't work out. It is what it is. Can you cry about it? Can you yell and scream? Can you lose sleep? Absolutely. You can also go, okay, not going to fight you on it. Here's your deposit back. Go on. There's another thing. I always tell this scenario, right? And I want to gauge sellers to see where they sit on this. Let's say that all the contingencies are removed and we're 4 or 5 days away from closing, because this has happened before, and then one of the buyers lose their job. It's Silicon Valley. It happens all the time, right? Oh, what happens if? We're going to do this, we're going to do that. Would you be okay letting them out? And I look at their eyes and I know yes or no. They could say, yes, I would be okay with giving the deposit back. But I look at their eyes and I make sure, because that's a huge tell to me saying that you're a good person or not. Because if somebody loses their job, that means that they have tens of thousands of dollars into a deposit on a home that they can't close on. And you, as a seller, have full authority to keep that. It happens once every 2 years or so for me. So it just kind of happens. You just have to be willing to roll with it. First, get an inspection done. Make sure that there's no issues, that we know what those issues are and we disclose them. Meaning that if you're a buyer, you're going to sign those inspections and disclosures before we accept an offer from you. If there's an appraisal issue, you need to work with the pricing expectations of the seller, right? It's important that you understand that, well, an appraiser took a look at it, and while you think your house is worth $10 million, it's really worth $1 million. Title insurance is something that you're just going to work with. They do their best, but It's a human-run business where mistakes are made, not often. Make sure that your home, when you accept an offer, that your agent has looked at the loan approval, they talked to the loan officer, and it's a fully underwritten loan approval before you go into offers. If they say, oh, well, we just don't do that anymore, don't work with that buyer. Or tell them, I want you to have your buyer work with this lender, get fully approved, because I want to make sure that they're fully approved. And that's a huge thing. Signs that buyers are going to back out include not meeting deadlines or returning necessary paperwork. That's a huge indicator. You're going to lose sleep over that. And it's because sometimes buyers are not fulfilling the obligations of what they wrote in the contract. There's nothing you can really do about it. You can always blame your agent. It could be an agent that doesn't know what they're doing. And in this article, it talks about marketing and redo this and that. Yeah, absolutely. You can redo it. But here's the thing. If the price doesn't appraise, or the house doesn't appraise for what you think your house is worth, it should be a knock in the socks saying, hey, look, your house isn't worth what you think it's worth. It's worth what a buyer's willing to pay and can pay. Sometimes changing agents and finding someone with a strong reputation of success, yeah, that's baloney. A good agent knows how to protect you, knows how to get your house to market, and knows how to negotiate. However, at the end of the day, if you are all about taking money away from people that are discouraged and beat down, that's on you. I'm not going to let that happen. It's discouraging when a house falls out of contract. It frustrates everybody and everybody loses sleep over it. But knowing how to get through everything and make it happen, that's the agent that you want to work with, that knows how to pull you out of the mud and get you marching again. So there you go. All right, enough of that. Ben Code Property of the Week, Ben Loman, Highway 9. This is $600,000, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,400 square feet, built in 1941. I have 12 fantastic pictures to look at. One thing you have to realize, this is Ben Loman, and this is in the fire district, meaning you will have to pay fair plan on this house that has not been maintained at all for $600,000. And fair plan, again, is just for the structure, not for anything inside. So you'd have to have everything else covered. And Mountain View Home of the Week is Velarde Street. This is one of those McMansions. They tore down an old house and put this up. $4 million, 4-bedroom, 3.5 baths, 2,700 square feet, built in 2026. They just finished it. Take a quick look inside. That's ridiculous. Concept image of the Loman plan. Oh, this is all AI. Limited warranty. Well, there you go. Something I learned every day. I like it because you're still walking distance to Mountain View to Castro Street. Something to take a look at. Guys, probates, estate sales. If your parents are getting older and need to move into an adult community, let's have a conversation. It's one of those things that are happening over and over again, and it's happening to my parents too. I just moved them into an adult community so we can keep an eye on them, and it goes quick. You need to be prepared. If you think, oh, we can just put them here instead of there, make sure you talk and have conversations with your doctors and all the other care providers. San Jose or Santa Clara County, 40 days on market right now. We have 90 days on market is 57, which is the same as last week. And the same thing with the REO and the Bay. It's almost like nothing's closed or went into pending. Crazy, right? REO went down just a tad bit all over California. And we're seeing new inventory come in. We have 352 homes for sale in San Jose and 728 in Santa Clara County. And then pending, we went 57, which is a huge jump. We're back up to normal numbers. I think it was just because everybody was freezing over the last 3 weeks, and now we're thawing out. We only had 24 closings, and same thing here. We had 48 closings this last week. Again, that's nothing great, but we're also in the winter months, which is the lowest of the 4 seasons for us. We're going into February here, and then next month is March, and that's when the meat season starts. So if you haven't